welcome, Perry. Welcome to Next Generation Pro Football Academy, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
No
Can you just tell our academy students who you are and where you've come from?
I'm Perry McLaughlin. I am a first team coach at Thor Kawa and first team goalkeeper coach at Thor Acury in the northeast of Iceland. I originally come from Sutton, South London, Surrey, wherever you want to place it. And I've been here, this is my third year.
Brilliant. Obviously, we've got to hit some topical issues. So, Perry, what's it been like being locked down in Iceland? How have the government reacted to it and the people and you and your own sanity, I guess?
It's been okay. So when it first happened, we was off for probably about 6 weeks back from March last year. And then we got issued rules where we can train but 2 meters apart. And you could only have a certain amount of people on certain spaces of pitch. And you couldn't play, but you could do passing drills and technical drills. It didn't make too much sense, but it was the best we could do and get away with. And there was like some rumours of people breaking the rules and stuff like that. But it's been okay just because Iceland's such it's only got 300,000 people, 350,000 people in the country. So there's a lot of space for not a lot of people. So it's had a huge impact on the economy and I think tourism and stuff. But other than that, it's been relatively okay. It hasn't really affected us too much. I live in a town full of 100 people. So it hasn't really affected that where I live exactly, but I think more so Reykjavik, the capital anyway, than the north.
Okay, brilliant. Can you tell us a little bit about your coaching career so far, your journey, the clubs, the players, the coaches that you've sort of worked with from when you started coaching?
Yeah, I was a goalkeeper as a player, and I'm a midget, so I never went very far. Lack of height, lack of talent, one of the two. And then I started coaching probably around 15 for an independent goalkeeping academy. And then it was from there really that I thought, oh, this is what I'd like to do because it's still football. It's the next best thing really. And I think at 20 years old, I got given a job at Chelsea. You was there yourself, and I was there for 3 years maybe, and I got to coach alongside the women's first team, their reserves, their academy, do some stuff in the boys' development centres and some little bits of stuff I potted about in the boys' academy, like watching sessions and helping out where just as and where I could. Just I get to work with some of their goalkeeper coaches and I mean, like to Stuart Searle and I think now James Russell was one of the youth coaches at the time, and he's now first team coach at Chelsea. Well, he was under Lampard. I don't know if since it changed, but so it's good to have worked alongside people like that and how they work and how they develop goalkeepers, especially. After that, I went to America for a bit as I was young, and I wanted to explore the world and sort of branch out and learn new experiences, learn new people, learn different places. I was there probably 2 years, and I come back and started working again with yourself at the academy program in Croydon, which was a great experience. It was fun. For me at the time, it was a perfect blend of serious and trying to achieve a certain goal for the kids and the players, while in having fun at work at the same time as well. It's exactly what I needed at that time. And then from there, I started my own business, which was through trials and tribulations. What had its ups and downs, was good, was bad, and then after that, randomly got a message saying fancy an adventure. About Iceland, and I applied for it, and I think I was one of 45 people that applied, and that I went through the application process and got it, and haven't looked back since. It was my route into professional football as a first team coach.
Brilliant. I mean, players that you've coached previously, any names that you can give us, in the male or female game that are flying high at the moment?
I mean, Carly Telford, goalkeeper. I worked with her previously at Chelsea with Stuart Sell. He was the first team coach, but I got to assist him with her. She played in a World Cup for England. There was, our striker out here, Alvaro. He's from Madrid originally, but he's been probably at Thor now, probably 2 or 3 years, and he's an absolute goal machine. I think he could or should have gone a lot further than he has. What that's down to, I don't know. But and a couple of Icelandic girls, a girl called Sveindis Jane, she just signed for Wolfsburg. And we played against her last week. She's like a girl version of Thierry Henry. She's just absolutely rapid. You get her one-on-one and she's past you without you even realising. I'd say that'd be I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head.
That's brilliant. So ending up in Iceland, chance or hard work? What would you say?
A mixture, really. I was kind of I had enough of my CV and my background to allow me to get a probably opportunity like this, but I didn't. I probably didn't have the right credentials in terms of licensing at the time. I was very lazy, and I thought the licenses didn't matter, and how wrong I was. And then the opportunity arose, and the application process itself was, I had to watch 2 full games, I had to analyse them, I had to clip them, I had to do everything, and there's if I wasn't at the age I was, if it come 3 years earlier, I wouldn't have done it, because I'd have thought, I'm not doing this. So I don't want to do that. It takes too long. But as I was 28 at the time, it was probably the perfect timing. So again, a mixture of hard work and luck and opportunity for at the time it come. It was the perfect storm as such.
Perfect. I mean, like you say, chance. You still got to put yourself in the shop window there. Tell us a little bit about the club you're at now, the positions you've got, like the club's expectations of you, the philosophy of the club, and the history of the club.
So I hold 2 roles, or 3 roles, really, if you break it down. So I work for Thor Ackery, who is just one of 2 big football clubs or the biggest, if you're out for Thor, we say we're the biggest in the north. And so with them, I'm the head of goalkeeping at the whole club, and first team goalkeeper coach. And then Thor Kauai, as an amalgamation of the 2 big clubs in the north, is the women's team. They run different schedules, but because the girls are in the top league, the boys are in the sort of the league below, the championship as such. And yeah, my roles sort of differ with Thor Kauai. I'm a first team assistant coach. It's more outfield based, and Thor is more goalkeeping based. And I mean, the expectations of my first season with Thor were huge. We were fighting for promotion. The manager, I was in charge of set pieces. I had to do all the analysis work with him. And then after that, it didn't go the way we wanted. He was relieved of his position, but the goalkeeper luckily got player of the season. So I stayed. And then we had a new manager come in, and my role was completely different. I was just a goalkeeper coach. I just it sort of seen and not be heard as such, which led me to go into the girls' side, because it offered an opportunity to do more, be more involved, have more of a say. The manager of the girls' team is he's a very, very good coach and very good manager. He understands there's life outside of football. So he's very, very good for the girls as well. And and with them, they've never, I don't think they've ever been outside the top 4. 2 years ago, they was in the Champions League. So that's sort of the goal is to get back into Champions League football with the girls, which to me it sounds crazy. Champions League football is seems like a dream. So that's what I'm aiming for. But yeah, they want the goalkeeping. On the goalkeeper side of it, they just want the goalkeeper to be consistent, to be fit, to obviously just do the things he's supposed to do, keep the ball out the back of the net. They're not too bothered how he does it. Where I am more, because he has every potential to go and play outside of Iceland. I mean, he's 21. He's just been named vice captain, and he's played over 100 first team games. So he's just on his way up.
With that, having that good relationship with that goalkeeper, and like you said, the club have one expectation, you have another expectation.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the language barrier, because I mean, it must be difficult. How does that work to communicate with your goalkeepers, with the new managers coming in? How does that work?
Everyone in Iceland speaks English. So I always say that everyone, if no one spoke English, I'd be fluent in Icelandic by now. But I mean, I heard it's one of the third hardest languages in the world. I don't know if that's true, but where they speak English, it's still important for me to know Icelandic, because there's some people whose English isn't great, and I'm in their country. I can't expect them to speak English. So a lot of times if people speak to me in Icelandic, I know what they're saying, but I can't think of what to say back in Icelandic. So I just talk to them in English. There's times where I've held conversations where the person is speaking to me in Icelandic, I'm just talking back in English. So from the outside looking in, it must be a very strange conversation to look at. But in terms of coaching, the first thing I did on the first few days, I got a piece of paper and a pen and wrote down certain words like basically to set their feet or to stand up or two hands. And so if I'm coaching them in a moment, they're not going to have to translate what I'm saying in English into their home language. So I will shout at them. I mean, little things like up in Icelandic is up. So it's not that different. But if they're hearing it quickly, then they know that that's what I want them to do straight away. So it's just trying to get them comfortable in hearing their language and not having to translate everything while they're in a moment. If they're training, they might want to just hear their native tongue than just English. So I think that when I first got here, obviously it was more English. Now it's more Icelandic, but that they laugh at my pronunciations of the things, of the words, because being from where I'm from, our tongue don't work the same as them. I can't roll my R's.
That's brilliant. So on that point, how hard is it to develop relationships and influence team habits being a foreigner? So looking at relationships within the club with the players, the motivational climate, how can you sort of motivate the players when you've got that communication barrier, and how do they accept you generally as a Brit, should we say?
They're very, very accepting. It's one of those things, like, because we're from England, and England being the home of football, they expect sort of straight away us to have all the answers. Like, we've got to be good because we're from England, and so that's okay. Their expectations on where they want to get to is they want to get to as high as they can. Their dream is always to get out of Iceland, get a pro, get out of Iceland. Some it happens for. Some go away and come back. Some go away at 17 and they're back here by 20. And because you can probably earn a lot of money playing football in Iceland, but they can have another job around it. That some places don't mind if they have another job in the morning and training in the afternoon. It's professional but semi-professional at the same time. And then you have some players that are just fully professional and some that aren't. And the barrier to try and get them to do what I want them to do more comes if it's completely out of left field. Like, they're very organised. If you say jump, they say how high. But it's more if I start asking them to go into a completely different formation they've never heard of, that's when they start sort of questioning, well, how do I do this? Why do I do this? Why are we doing that? And then it's up to me to have the answers for it, really. But yeah, it's fun.
Have you had to adapt your practice then, your approach to your coaching? Like, your ideas to match others' ideas, the methods, that sort of stuff?
Completely. One of the things that it taught me being here is that, I mean, England, you know this, that sessions are like meant to be like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I've learned one of the biggest things that's influenced me is it's not how long the session is, it's the content of the session. So we've done sessions that are 45 minutes long. If we get out what we want in that 45 minutes, and we see what we want to see, then we're just training to train. But so in that time, we can train for an hour. It's fine. We can train for an hour 15. We can train for 2 hours if that's what's needed. But it doesn't need to be because we train every day, so we don't need to train 2 hours every day. If we can get what we want out in that hour or in that 20 minutes or that 45 minutes, then that's where it's adaptive. So my thought process was when I come here, okay, training's going to be an hour and a half. We're going to do this for warm up, and then it was okay, we're doing this for warm up, and then we're going straight into our practice. Where the common practice in coaching in the UK usually is like warm up, technical drill, passing drill, pattern and play, so something like that. Here it's you just do your warm up. They might do their warm up, go into squares or a rondo, and then we might get on the pitch and get them into what we want to see. And when I first come here, it blew my mind. I was like, that we can do that. That it's that simple, and it's almost less is more. Like it is completely here less is more, and they don't want to be training for 2 hours because it's just it to them it's not pointless, but you just end up training to train rather than training towards a goal and how you want to play. So it was a completely different way of thinking, and just bringing my ideas into that is I started reducing my goalkeeping sessions down to 45 minutes just for the kids, because I realized that they're completely right. I don't need to be doing an hour and a half. This is what we're doing in the session. This is a warm up. This is content. And then we just go from there into there. And even with the first team goalkeepers, 45 minutes, that's enough. Done. After 45, we're just doing too much.
So that sort of boxes off the working environment. I want to touch again on the culture. I mean, because obviously it's a completely different culture, the food, the people's outlook on life. I mean, the hustle and bustle of London, and as you know, in the suburban areas, is completely different to where you are now. What are people at the club and generally people like in Iceland, and the food and their approach to what they do?
It's the most laid back place I've ever been. It quite suits me. Like they've got a saying, and it basically it translates to I'll be all right. So the way they do it frustrates me so much because of, like you said, in England, if you need something done, it needs to be done sort of that day. But in Iceland, it's like, oh, it's so important. We need to get it done. It needs to be done. We'll do it in 2 weeks. And it's just a bit like, oh, this should have been done 2 weeks ago, sort of thing. But they just, everything will be okay. And 9 times out of 10 they are right. Everything will be okay. But it's just that was one of the biggest, still is one of the biggest things that I trouble with. Like if I want something done, need something done, I want it done then, and you just have to wait a few days, and you have to wait for the board to meet and talk about it, and then they might not decide on it that day, so they got to talk about it further again next week, and then next meeting, and it's just 9 times out of 10 I'm just like, come on. But with
the food and the social culture, like that sort of side of it, is that completely different, or?
Yes and no. Like they had just literally had it's called Thori, and it's like a thing, not a sacrifice to the god Thor, but it's just like celebrating him. And there was like I was eating rotten shark and sour whale, and they had cooked sheep's head on the table, and they cut his tongue out and fed it to me, and I was like, what on earth is going on? And so that is different. And they eat a lot of fish because all the towns are and all the cities are on the coast. So fish is a big, like you can go buy a bag of fish like you buy a bag of crisps. And so that is. But socially, they love a. They do love a night out. They love or not a night out. They love going out. It's when I first, I think, went to. There's a bar downtown here. That when I first went there, there's a piano in the middle of the bar, and I was sitting there. I was with just some people that I worked with from here, and someone started playing it, and then started singing. 2 minutes later, there's 30 people around this piano swaying and singing. And I was just like, where am I? Like, this is the strangest thing, because you don't obviously, you wouldn't see that in England, and everyone was just gathered around this piano, and it happens every time you go there. Every time I've been in there, someone's like, you just see people you know's like brothers or sisters, or like some of the players' mums will be sitting on the piano singing, and it's brilliant.
Insane.
Yeah.
So going back into the football environment, like the cohesiveness of the players, or the norms and habits, dressing room sort of behaviour, and for us, it's banter is very big. What's it like there? Is it socially the same inside a dressing room, or completely different?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Stuff like that don't change. You get different characters, the more outgoing characters, and it's exactly the same. It's just all in Icelandic. They don't start joking around in English randomly, or if they do, they're just taking the piss out of an English saying or something. And nine times out of 10. But as soon as it's go time, it's very serious. So they take their football very, very seriously in this country, all over it. So but the banter, especially like on when we went to a pre-season camp, like everyone had to get up and sing karaoke, and they're all singing in English. Like one of the players was singing like songs from The Lion King and stuff like that. So the banter is very much the same. Just obviously it's in Icelandic, so obviously I didn't really start enjoying it until like a year into it, when I actually knew what they're saying.
So on that point, for players at our academy, opportunities there. I mean, if they're good enough, are there places there that they can go to be seen, or would you recommend going to Iceland to play football?
100%, 100%. I don't know how different it is now due to Brexit. But before, it was very, very easy. You could just come get a job, get your Kennetala, which is your same as sort of social security number or national insurance number. But 100%, there's opportunities over, as long as they have like enough information to present to the club about them, in terms of like not just a highlight reel, like a highlight reel and a full game, because I could probably clip myself playing 3 or 4 games and look half decent still, but you want to see a full game, and you want to see what you're not good at as well as what you are good at. So as long as they have enough about them to present to the clubs, then there's opportunities. I mean, there's Pepsi League, Lengi Dilden, 2nd division, 3rd division, 4th division. Yeah, there's like 5 leagues, and they will all pay foreigners to come and play. Maybe only 2 or 3 foreigners at each club, but and obviously the pay differs between the top league and the bottom league. But there's definitely opportunities. More so, they want that sort of 20 to 24 age range. Some clubs differ. Top clubs, they might want experience, but they tend to obviously realise that the younger the player, the less of an expense they are, because they don't want as much money. They haven't been about as much. They haven't got as much as a resume or CV to back up the money they ask for. Yeah,
decent. Right, that's brilliant. Thanks, Perry. I mean, we've got some quick fire questions.
Yep.
So you're going to have to give me your answers as quick as possible. So here we go. Biggest club you've coached at?
Chelsea.
Who's your hero growing up?
Thierry Henry.
Who's the best player you've coached?
I'm going to go with Alvaro, our striker. Like I said, he's a goal machine. Could have gone further.
Who's the best player you've coached against?
I would say on the women's side would be It'll be Svanis Jane, the striker I spoke about earlier. She's dangerous. She's just got to move to. I think it's Wolfsburg to Germany. So
Best player in the world currently?
I'm gonna go with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Best player in the world of all time?
I mean, I'm gonna base it on my era. So I'm gonna go with Cristiano Ronaldo again because I think he's adaptable to so many places on the football pitch.
Brilliant. I appreciate that, Perry. Just quickly now, for Next Generation Pro Football Academy, have you got any message for our students or anything you want to say to our students or aspiring athletes?
Yeah, just it sounds cheesy, but nothing is impossible, really. I come from Sutton. I never played a professional football match in my life, and now I'm a first team coach and first team goalkeeper coach at professional football clubs in Iceland, and there's a huge possibility I'm going to get onto my pro license here, and so that's something that would never happen in England. So for me, don't be scared to think outside the box and go outside your comfort zone, because there is more to life than being inside London and outside England. And I should definitely take any opportunities that you do get to go abroad or even further afield than London and take it with both hands.
That's great stuff. Perry McLaughlin, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem. You're more than welcome.